Let's get further analysis on all of this now with Francesco Sassi in Fiera di Primiero in Italy. He's an assistant professor at the University of Oslo, specializing in energy and resource geopolitics. Francesco, thank you so much for joining us. A lot of questions here as to whether or not the US's actions over the last few weeks are legal as it continues to pursue vessels allegedly part of what's known as a shadow fleet to evade sanctions. What's your take?
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, let me say that the U.S. has attempted to stop 3 different tankers off the coast of Venezuela. The legality of these measures initiatives has been mainly questioned by Venezuela, which refer to the seizures as theft and hijacking. But as a matter of fact, so far the U.S. provided 3 different reasons for attempting to seizing oil cargoes, and only one of these, Venezuela, and the sanctions implemented by the U.S. are directly taken into the account. Why in the other 2 cases, the U.S. is referring to oil trade between Iran and Venezuela and the flying of illegal flags on the tankers seized. While so far the policies implemented by the U.S. and seizures have attempted to retain a comprehensive form of legality, the more oil tankers are boarded off the coast of Venezuela, the less likely is that the overall plan will continue to be framed as legal under international law. And criticism at the UN by China, Russia, and other countries will certainly rise in the hours and the days ahead.
And they already have. We've heard from Russia saying that they fully support Venezuela. But when it comes to Venezuela's energy exports, oil especially, of course, how is this going to impact them, especially having just heard from our correspondent in Caracas saying that inflation is already rising?
Yeah, well, certainly shadow fleet tankers and the legal and economic and political support given by countries such as China, Iran, and Russia to the international oil exports from Venezuela granted the Latin American country to export more or less 1 million barrels a day on the average over at least the last year. In the case the state-owned company PDSVA is impeded to secure the continuity of exports and tanks where Venezuelan oil is currently loaded, well, we might see in a matter of a few weeks at the most of the oil exports from Venezuela stopping, disrupting the local energy industry, and that will be a very huge problem for the woeful policies of the Maduro's government, but also the energy industry of Venezuela and all these international companies right now involved in trading, selling, producing oil in Venezuela.
And Francesco, Donald Trump has been accusing the government of Venezuela of, quote, stealing American property after U.S. oil companies were forced to leave the country in the 1970s when the oil fields there were nationalized. When that happened, how did that actually change energy markets in Venezuela and globally? And does it still have an impact on what we're seeing today?
Well, the nationalization of the Venezuelan oil industry has been an ongoing process with many zigzags since the 70s, a dynamic which involved many other global South countries in Latin America, Africa, but also Asia. When President Chavez came to power in 1999, the process cemented further, and so it did with President Maduro. The nationalization of Venezuela's oil made the country a major international oil player on global oil market and a power within the OPEC organization. But the ongoing crisis and the domestic industry and international sanctions have still seen Venezuela as a reduced oil power in the global oil markets, with production that has been decreasing by a third just in the last 10 years. So that will be a main issue, and the continuity of the oil industry in Venezuela will be absolutely challenged by the actions of the U.S. right now.
Francesco Sassi, really good to speak to you live to us there from Italy.